Welcome to the Ramen Chokehold Show. I'm your host, Wombat Jones, and we've got a very, very, very special guest. We've got the Asian coach of 2017 with us, Master Fari Salievski. How are you going, Master?
Mate, I'm impressed. I don't know what you've had for breakfast today, but I want some. Mate, that energy, that face, that smile, that hairstyle, you're on fire.
Mate, it's 2018. We're coming in hot. Mate, we're coming in majorly hot. So let's get straight into it. Let's talk about your 2017, because as I mentioned, One Championship 2 days ago released a list of their 5 greatest coaches that they believe are in Asia at the moment, and you headed that list. And the main reason why is because you sort of guided one Martin Nguyen to 2 world titles. So, mate, why don't you talk to me about your 2017?
Well, look, obviously that's some highlights there, but 2017 was also my 35th year of teaching. So, the Martin Nguyen, we shocks the world twice. Really, that's our, everything that we've planted over the years now bearing fruit. So, definitely unprecedented, but you know what, that those 2 fights really started when we lost to Marat in the first fight, which wasn't a planned fight. But if you look at the first fight after, and I'm not sure if anyone has ever seen, if you get a chance, it's on SBS on demand. Get the documentary; it's free, Caged. Martin and I are in there, and
I'll tell you what we'll do, Master. I will link that down in all the social medias and YouTube stuff. So I'll put the link for that so everyone can watch it.
Absolutely, because it's a wonderful background. I mean, here we are, it's all documented, which is pretty cool. And the first documentary on MMA in Australia. So have a look at it. And the reason I want people to see that is because the first fight after that loss. And I said to Martin, you know what, this is just not another fight. You tell the world, tell Marat that, this is our first step back. And it was in the planning stages from that. That was our comeback. Our goal was always to, face Marat again. And you know what, it did come true. We not only faced him, we beat the unbeatable, and again, that was a whole lot of planning and a whole lot of training, and without sounding, cocky, but we had absolutely no doubt in the world that was going to happen. And for me, it's all about seeing Martin realize his ability. He's always evolving, and I mean, people talk about his loyalty and his integrity. What they don't see is his amazing ability to listen, as something as simple as that. We teach our kids in martial arts, what's the most important thing in martial arts? And I'll tell you, listening. But it's easier said than done. Fighters are not the best listeners, but I can tell you Martin has an amazing ability to tune in. He adapts very quickly. And that's the idea of having great martial artists. So, 2017 was really the year of, I think, people starting to respect and value martial artists, martial arts schools. We're a school, not a gym, and I'm proud to say that. I don't want to be a fight school. I don't want to breed, people that just want to have an attitude. And if they've got the attitude, you'll find that they're no longer with KMA for a reason.
And sort of when you look back on your year last year, and you mentioned Martin, and obviously Andy Lee debuted and had a big knockout, and we've got Theo as the British champion going, he's going for an AFC title soon. But just personally, on a personal level, can you pinpoint 30 seconds of last year, just 30 seconds, and that when you reflect back on it, you go, what's going on here? What I can't believe what's happening.
Look, I think the Marat fight when Martin got the belt, and I must say I got pretty emotional because we went over that that moment, before, you know, when you get the belt, and you know, not if, when you get the belt. So, you know, that moment that we spoke about was happening. He's got the belt. It's realized, you know, you got all this gold confetti just flying everywhere, and we just did what nobody thought was going to be real. That was definitely, to me, a pretty emotional time, knowing also too that you know, Martin will be thinking of his dad. You know, little things like that. To me, it's, you know, family and results, and you know, talent come to fruition. That's certainly a life-changing moment, certainly for Martin. So that's what it's all about.
And speaking of confetti, I was there for the Manila fight where he won his second world title, and the confetti machine was right near my shoulder. I didn't know what was going on. I thought, what the fuck is that? But anyway, so once the confetti go, so let's just touch on it. And I really want to touch on this for a good reason, and that is because we've lost some footage that I actually filmed from over there, but I do want to still talk about it. And that is, I basically filmed all week Andy Lee throwing nothing but spinning shit at Marty, and yet everyone online says it was a lucky punch and whatnot. And we had interviews. I did interviews with you where we spoke about how he's going to get it done and that, and you basically nailed it down to the tree. Unfortunately, my airline decided that I didn't need that footage. So, mate, why don't we just talk about just a little bit on Manila and talk everyone through just the science behind it, because I think, you know, everyone sees an overhand right, and even Chatri, the CEO of One, even he says, you know, Martin's got the big overhand and right. But what they don't see is all the preparation and the timing and just all of that stuff that goes into it. So why don't you just reflect a little bit on Manila as well, mate?
Look, Martin is, like I said, an amazing listener, an amazing student. That's his skill. He doesn't have, you know, he doesn't have his ego. He will listen. So, you know, cutting in that angle, which you saw that we were drilling coming in. And believe it or not, it wasn't about, you know, trying to knock him out. I mean, when I originally showed that to Martin, it was more, you know, to get in that angle and sweep. It's an old Hapkido technique. And especially when someone does a turning back kick, when they do a side kick version, as opposed to a donkey style. So donkey style comes in from underneath. Side kick version, it's coming around. There's a gap behind the opponent, and their head's also up. So generally in Hapkido, we do the coat hanger on them, take them down and beat them up. That was always the plan with our opponent, because, you know what, he could take a hit. He's one hell of a strong boy. And I'll be honest, you know, we did not think we could knock him out, being such a seasoned fighter, and he's a striker. I mean, but, you know, at that moment, and if you see my Facebook, I just put a moment of brilliance. You know, Martin, being the talented martial artist that he is, I mean, he did the coat hanger, but he wasn't looking to take him down. He just went for it, you know, just pure instinct. But from one thing, you know, leads to the other, but cutting in the angle was always in the plans. And if you don't have a plan, well, you're never going to be able to work that plan. So it's certainly an amazing result, certainly an amazing moment. And the knockout was a bonus. But I can't say that we're planning a knockout. But, you know, you always got to plan to your strengths. And if it goes one further, great. In this case, it did. And it was, I mean, it wasn't just another KO. It was brutal.
It was spectacular, absolutely spectacular. One of the, absolutely. Especially with the spin, you know, with the spin, it adds a lot more to it. And it was just, I mean, I was 3 foot away from
it. But, you know, we actually thought, you know, he was seriously hurt as well. I mean, it was brutal. I mean, Martin, you know, got scared because he felt it. He threw the punch. And when you see somebody not moving, I mean, he was clean through. So, you know, as great as it looked, you know, we're glad that our opponent obviously is okay. But certainly a spectacular KO. There's no ifs or buts about it.
And Eduardo will be back. He's a champion. So, mate, let's move forward, though. In your 35th year of teaching, you get an accolade bestowed upon you by an organisation that's possibly, you know, the second largest in the world now, and I believe they will probably end up nearly being the biggest just on population. What's that like? You know,
Yeah, look,
35 years.
people. Well, people don't. Firstly, just let me give one championship a rap. People don't realise the numbers. You know, we're talking, you know, televised in 128 countries. You know, you look at the population of Vietnam, you know, which is near 100 million. You've got, you know, the population of China. I mean, you got a television audience just there alone of 1 billion. So, you know, you got people watching fights of, you know, I mean, it could be 1 billion people easily, which is massive. So, you know, here we are, this martial arts guy that's been around for 35 years, gets, you know, a very nice accolade, and I will take it. And, you know, we have a great team of KMA, which I'm very proud of. But, you know, the pressure, the fact is the pressure is always on me. The buck stops with me. I have to set things in motion. I have to get, you know, if we need a particular skill, if we need a particular talent to add to prep for a fight, you know, the buck stops with me. And there is a lot of pressure with that. And there's a lot more to, you know, looking after fighters in particular that people don't understand. You know, it's not just about the last fight. You know, yeah, everyone's looking at Martin now, and, you know, 2 world titles. But, you know, what they don't see was all those other fights when, you know, we're going to some godforsaken place that nobody would ever want to fight in. And here we are, in, you know, doing that. And all of them were stepping stones. And you know, for me, the accolade is really great for KMA. And I'm very honoured, especially coming from a man like Chatri. I mean, Chatri is a phenomenally successful man, and he's very much into promoting the martial arts, the martial art values. He wants fighters to have those martial art values, and he knows we're a school, we're not a gym. And you know, I'm a martial arts teacher. I'm not a, you know, I don't class myself as a trainer, and I certainly don't class myself as a coach. I mean, they can use that term by all means. But, you know, I'm an instructor, and this is pretty big coming from such a large organization and coming from such a very largely populated part of the world. And here we are, this little guy from Sydney gets you know, gets a bit of attention. Thank you.
And you know what, let's touch on this a little bit further, because what I've sort of noticed, especially after starting Chokehold, now it's starting to take some tread, if you would say. But what I've noticed is people will call themselves an MMA fan in Australia, yet probably have never seen any other fight outside of the UFC, nor have gone to a local promotion and supported the grassroots. So, you know, how do we change that mentality? How do we get the Aussies behind the Aussies as well, which is another thing that I've noticed, which doesn't really go on. I mean, we've now got Martin, who's a dual world champion in one championship, obviously Robert Whittaker over in the UFC. So how do we get more people involved in the local and more the regional scene, just away from the UFC basically, and getting some support behind, I mean, especially Martin, a dual world champion?
You know, I just enjoy the training. It's first and foremost, it's about the training. So whether you fight or don't fight, you know, just let's give recognition, and you know, let's all comprehend the enormity of what's been achieved. I mean, I've seen pictures on the net now where, you know, they're comparing Martin with Conor McGregor. I mean, everyone knows the Conor McGregor name, but and look, I don't know him personally. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. But I have to say, as a proud Australian, not just as a proud instructor, but, you know, I also want to promote our own. I mean, 2 division champion. I mean, that's wow. Before such a large audience, people in Australia have yet to embrace, let alone comprehend it. But you know what? It's getting some steam. And with people like yourself spreading the word, people are going to be realizing that there is an elite athlete, training out of Liverpool that has achieved worldwide success. Our last fight, with Eduardo, we fought him in his home city, in his home country, before his home crowd. The odds were stacked against us. Even that in itself. The Filipino people are beautiful. We had people coming up to us, after the fight, in their beautiful Filipino accents. Hey, sir, you beat our champion, but could we get a photo with you? They themselves realized the enormity of what had happened. It was hard not to respect and acknowledge that, and and hopefully people will do that at home. It's massive.
So 2018, we've got some big fights happening for KMA Liverpool, especially in March. So why don't you tell everyone at home what's going on? What have you got looking forward to up until March? And what can we see out of KMA and Fari Salievski?
Well, you know what? We have 4 weeks in succession in March. So we start off with Brace in Canberra, right? That's on the 3rd. Week after, Andy Lee is fighting for his state title. So, he's the man with the overhead too. So get ready. He's definitely following in the footsteps of Marty. Some would say he's even better looking than Marty. So, but that's Marty may debate that, but we'll all have a laugh about it. The week after, Theo fights for the AFC title, which is a world title, and who knows, that may lead to a UFC fight. So the opportunity's there. It's a big fight against an ex-UFC fighter. So be sure to watch that. Then a week after that, we'll be in Bangkok for Bibiano, who's give credit where credit's due, an absolute legend. So it's definitely one hell of a month, and I think I'll probably disappear for a month after that, I'd say.
And a few vitamin B shots just to keep yourself going.
Absolutely.
All right, Master, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. I'll be seeing you a lot in the coming months. Obviously, Ramen Chokehold will be there in Thailand for Marty's 3rd world title. And we'll also be in and out of the gym and doing a few other segments and that. So, mate, can't wait to catch up with you again. Thanks so much for coming on. And you look after yourself. You're not even in Australia at the moment, are you?
No, I'm in Aspen, and it's a little bit cold, so I'll be sure to be a little bit tanned next time you see me, and hopefully I'll have a better headache. But at 52, it's not about me anymore, is it? So, but when you get a nice award, hopefully that'll take attention away from my hair.
Awesome, mate. Well, you take care, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, we'll stay in touch. Fari Salievski on Facebook. You've got KMA Champion Martial Arts. You've got KMA Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Wrestling. So stay in touch by all means, and also check out MMA Australia as well for all the fight news and stuff. There's a lot happening. But if you're in the Liverpool area, just pop into KMA in Liverpool and say hi.
All right, awesome, man. Don't worry. I'll be doing it very soon. Take care, mate.
God bless.